Okay, I think this is gonna be the last part for now of my series of what the coronavirus made me do, at least with regard to pickled vegetables. Okay, so this is gonna be my favorite pickled vegetable. It's called kimchi. It's a Korean pickled Napa cabbage, and it's absolutely delicious. Okay, so here we go. Don't forget that the crucial part of any good fermentation is good music. So in the background you hear the Matthew's Passions by Johann Sebastian Bach. Yes, that's what happens when a classical pianist is fermenting vegetables. Okay, so here is my dear pride Napa cabbage called kimchi. Again, this is a very simple recipe. I'm always surprised, or during this past 7 to 10 days that I have actually started pickling or fermenting vegetables, I was just shocked how easy it is, and why haven't I done this before? I mean, if I were to buy this much cabbage, I would probably pay $5 or $6, easily $10. Whereas if you make it yourself, well, you basically need to pay much less. I forgot now how much I paid for that Napa cabbage, but it wasn't a lot. I don't know, $2.50 maybe, and I made 2 of these. Okay, so the recipe is right here, and it's very simple. It's 1 medium-sized Napa cabbage, 1/4 cup of salt. Make sure it doesn't have much iodine, because iodine can kind of sanitize things and kill off bacteria. You might remember that if you cut yourself, you might use iodine to clean it. Okay, you will need water, if possible not chlorinated. Also, you will need 1 tablespoon grated garlic. That means about 5 to 6 cloves. 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger. Definitely helps. You can put some sugar. This is just 1 teaspoon of sugar. You don't need to. Important, however, is 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. If you want to make it vegan, just put water. And definitely you want some scallions. So in this case, about 4 scallions. I'm gonna cut it about 1 inch long. You can have some Korean daikon radish if you want to. I couldn't find any, so I don't have it. And also, and this is important, kimchi is usually quite spicy. So if you want to have your spicy, those red Korean beautiful flakes are called gochugaran. Excuse me, gochugaru. Okay, so you're gonna clearly need a container, which you should clean everything like with everything else. Make sure that you put some boiling water, the inside, everything should be clean enough so that you only have good bacteria growing. It's very simple. So if we had the nice cabbage, excuse me, right here, I'm gonna cut it in half, then I'm gonna cut it again. So you're gonna have cabbage, Napa cabbage quarters, and then you're gonna cut about 2-inch pieces of them, and that's all. You're gonna throw it into a bowl, and then you're gonna pour that 1/4 cup of salt, that's quite a bit of salt, on top of them, and start massaging like crazy. Again, for all of you pianists and musicians who work with their hands, this is really good for you. You don't need to do scales that day. So you massage it out. It releases all kinds of brine, but you're actually not gonna use the brine in this case. You're gonna wait for about 1 to 2 hours once you have massaged it down so that it's kind of softer. I think you will know when is the right time. It's about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes of massaging. Then you let it stand for 1 to 2 hours. It's gonna release all kinds of water, and then after that time you just rinse it all out. You know, if you're gonna pour some water in, it's at least 3 different waters, or you can just rinse it under just tap water. Again, if the tap water is, you know, good enough. If it has a lot of chlorine, please don't use that. It's gonna kill a good bacteria and it's not gonna work. Okay, after that, put it in your colander, drain it for 20 minutes. So it's relatively, you know, you can squeeze the water out a little bit. Meanwhile, you can make your paste. So the paste is gonna contain garlic, everything's grated ginger, a little bit of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. And of course, if you want it spicy, you want to have your gochugaru, your red Korean flakes. Now, how much of that is completely up to you. If you want it mild, 1 tablespoon is enough. If you want it spicy, 5. It's gonna be probably the right amount. Okay, now you might be wondering, what are these for? Now let me tell you, once you mix your sauce, you're gonna understand, because it's delicious. I mean, it has garlic, it has ginger, it has fish sauce, and it's just very well, it's very profound, shall we say. So when you're mixing for the next step, I would recommend use these, because otherwise you're gonna smell like kimchi for the next week. So put on your gloves, and then once everything is rinsed and drained, you're gonna mix it with that paste. You're gonna mix it into your veggies, and then you're gonna pack it very tightly, just like sauerkraut. You're gonna really kind of use your fist and pack it down, bang it down. And again, it's gonna release the juice, it's gonna release the brine. It has soaked up all that salt, so it's actually still quite salty. You can taste it, of course, so that you know if it's not too salty for your taste. If so, you know, rinse it more, drain it more. Anyway, so once you put it in, you pack it in really tightly. It releases the brine again, and the brine needs to cover it up. Now, you don't need to do this, but if you have the option, weigh it down with weights, right? That's gonna push the vegetables down, the brine is gonna come over it. It's really a wonderful thing. You can use these burpees. I have described them in other places. You don't need to. If you have them, it's great, because again, you don't want necessarily to have excess of the air. You don't need that. The lactofermentation is happening underneath the juice, and anything that's in contact with air is actually in danger of becoming infected with other bacteria, or rather, the other bacteria is there, but it's gonna start growing on the vegetable itself. And then that's the difference between a vegetable going bad, being spoiled by mold, or just by spoiling, or lactofermenting, which happens underneath brine. So that's juice from the vegetable itself with the good bacteria such as lactobacillus in it, and then it's lactofermenting in that brine. Also, you have some salt, which is also like a policeman for bad bacteria not to grow. Okay, so once you have that, you have 1 to 5 days. Make sure, if you don't have the burpee, that you are burping your bottle, because otherwise it's gonna explode. There's a lot of CO2, and really, I mean, this is creating a lot of CO2. I was really amazed. The first time I opened it up, it just spoiled over. You can still see some dry stuff there. So I would say at least twice a day, burp it up so that the pressure inside is being released. After 1 to 5 days, you can taste it kind of after 2 or 3 days, see if that's up to your liking. If not, leave it on longer. Then it's ready. You can put it in your fridge, which basically slows down your fermentation to a halt. And since it has a lot of salt in it, and it's lactofermenting, it can keep for a really long time. Okay, by the way, I didn't put my gochugaru, my red flakes, just because I didn't want it spicy, but I strongly recommend doing that. And as you can see, don't forget to put your label when you started fermenting. You might forget, it's very easy to do that. Don't forget to burp it, keep it in a temperature, room temperature, and also keep it in a dark place. So I put some towel over it so it has a nice quiet spot. And don't forget to place some beautiful Bach, because that's a crucial ingredient in a good fermenting process. Okay, here it is from me. I'm a pianist, by the way, but this is what coronavirus made me do. Okay, everybody stay safe and healthy, and have some fun during this crazy time.